Okay, on today's adventure, I thought we'd go to a car show. Now, this is not just an average car show, but yet it's not some prima donna car show either. I mean, this car has won, I believe, nationals and stuff, and I have the awards, but I appreciate those things. Believe me, I do. But I did not do it. The former owner enrolled them in these, I guess you'd call them a competition. But it's kind of cool that they won. But really what today's car show is about, just people who love cars. And it's in eastern Tennessee, in Elizabethton. And I've been there before when there was probably 100 cars there. And it's just people love automobiles and they show up. I mean, you could show up with a brand new um, Corvette, mid-engine Corvette, or you could show up with a 1940s. You'll see 1950s cars there too. And this is going to challenge me a little bit because when I walk around, first of all, I'm going to be displaying this. I didn't even wash it because that's what this is. It's original. It's okay to be a little dusty and have a little dirt on it. But I'm going to walk around there. It's my goal to, and look at the cars, and I'm going to be talking about the cars. I'm going to be telling you what I know. But this is the unique part about this, and this is kind of funny. Everything I'm going to be telling you, for the most part, were things I knew when I was 5 years old. So if it's a particular year car or something, I'm going to rattle off what I believe it to be, and you guys can correct me because my dad used to own a car lot when I was, say, 5, 6 years old. And I got to know a lot of different cars. Now, he didn't have a lot of cars, maybe 8 or 10 max at any given time. But I got to know all the years. And I would hear him talk about the cars. And fact is, he had a running joke. I would always run out and talk to the people because I was a talkative young man at that point. And I would point out everything I knew about the car, good, bad, and indifferent. I guess I've always been that way. Um, and I would point out the rust, which was obvious. I mean, anybody could see if it had rust. And in those days, everyone accepted rust. It wasn't the big thing that it is today. If you had a little rust hole in your car, it was no big deal. The car was for driving. So my dad's thing was um, that he would give me about 5 minutes with these people, and then he'd slowly meander out. And he would tell people at the time that I was the best guy to break the ice that there ever was. And because he would walk out and say, now that my son has told you everything that's wrong with the car, can I tell you some things that I like about it? And he was an honest mechanic, and believe me, they may be in short supply in some areas and some places, but my father was a true honest man. And I've got stories about that too, and I can pass on some of those. But let's go to Elizabethton. Let's talk about the cars that are there. I'll walk around. My car would be, on display as well, but I'll walk up and down the street and everything, and we'll go ahead and look at different cars, and I'll tell you what I believe I know about them. And when I am wrong, I want you to point it out, educate me. And but I'm going to do my very best. Some things are pretty easy for me if they're from the 50s, and because those were the cars that he was selling, the late 50s and stuff. So that's what I know best. I know some of the others, but I know those, and it all dates back, like I said, from when I was 5 or 6 years old. Let's get on the road. Take it easy. Let's get on the road. We'll see you driving down the road. Well, we're on our way. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. I think I will. It's one of the ones I've been kind of I'm looking forward to all of these because I'm hand picking them that I will have a good time, and in the hopes that everybody else will have a good time too. So we're off and running. Going to have a good time today, and the old Ford's running good. It's a warm day today, and it wasn't running hot, but as a precaution, I've turned on an auxiliary fan. It's one of the few improvements done to this car since it was brand new. As most of you know, it's pretty darn close to 100% original, everything about it, so including the low mileage. So, but it has an exterior fan mounted. It's electric, of course. It has the standard fan that came with the vehicle, but many would call that a little less than idealistic. And then on the other side, between the grille and the radiator, it has an electronic fan that you can turn it on. And that can be very helpful at low speeds. My father used to say, if you're doing something like, I'm thinking it was about 27 miles an hour, the fan was dysfunctional. So that's about what I'm doing now anyway, so the fan probably isn't doing any good. But when I come up to a stoplight or something, then it's all pretty good. And here we have some beautiful farms and pastures, and I don't know exactly what they call that. They have something like that on the West Coast, and it's called mustard. I don't know if it really is mustard, but that's what everybody refers to it as. You have some old trees that haven't quite come to life yet this springtime, and an old farm here that looks a little worn, but like many in Tennessee. Here's another farm off to the left. So here we go, going in through a lot of beautiful country. You can see the trees just coming out now, some of them. Some of them are already all the way out, some have yet to come out. This is what Tennessee is all about. And of course you can take freeways anywhere in Tennessee, but I'm always looking for the old roads. The roads, you know, small roads. You know, roads that you would have, you know, either been here in the 1930s or 50s or whatever, or could have been. They would be like those roads. As I've mentioned before in other videos, Tennessee is growing up very fast. And I think most people who live here aren't too excited about that, but, you know, even myself, but it kind of goes with the territory. You got a beautiful place. You got to go ahead and expect that other people are going to want to live here too. Now, a lot of you recognize downtown Johnson City. That's where we are now. We did a video on that. It's kind of a cool place, as those of you who have watched that video would realize. This is not the actual street we were on. I think that was Roan. But This is a street that crosses it. Okay, right there, we're going South Roan, so you'd make a left right where it says opening soon. A lot of action going on there. Everything about that place. That building looks new when it says opening soon, but it's done in the manner of what would have been one of the old buildings there. You know, not really, but kind of, you know what I mean. So we're at the car show, and I'm just realizing how difficult this is going to be. I believe this is a kit car. This one should be fairly easy. Obviously, it's supposed to be something like a Corvette, and it's pretty cool. I mean, after all, Corvette did come with a fiberglass body, didn't it? Obviously, here we have Camaro. Somebody's obviously modded it up quite a bit. You can see a lot of aftermarket there. Got some heavy-duty bracing in here, don't they? Okay, I don't know what year this is for certain. It looks like an Oldsmobile, about a 58, I'm guessing. So you guys can correct me as I go along. It looks like the drivetrains and everything's been changed out, because look at the steering wheel. So I'm going to guess, obviously that steering wheel did not come from that year automobile. And locking, and I haven't seen the underside, but I'm thinking that it's something unusual. We have a Harley here, of course. You can bring whatever here. And here's a Super Sport from middle late 60s with some most undoubtedly modified. This here is a 1970 Super Sport. Now I would have not known that. I was talking to the owner earlier, and I was thinking it was a 72, but it in fact is a 1970. He's the original owner. Makes it very cool. And it is, I am told, 100% stock. What a wonderful car to buy in 1970. He was a very lucky man. He's had it all of these years. Of course, this one may look familiar to some of us. This is mine. I also have it here. I have all the original parts. There's only a couple of things that have been changed, and that's the alternator and the ignition. And I have all of that. So we're running halogen headlights so you can see at night. That kind of comes in handy. We also have a fan. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we have a fan on the inside too. So that's kind of nice. Keep it cool in the hot days, although today it wasn't necessary. It's about 80, I think, here today. Now this is about a 1972. Um, it has some aftermarket parts for sure. Cool, very cool. Now, I do not know what this is. Okay, of course it's a Ford, but more than that I do not know. I'm going to guess late 40s. Somebody is keen on what this is. Why don't you let me know? Very cool looking car, I can tell you that. Definitely would be big in the, late 50s, early 60s as far as modifications. Now, they've got an alternator here too. Look at those heads on it. And the ignition's undoubtedly been changed out, I would guess. Some of it. Look at down there, that might be very well original. You guys can let me know. Although this is later than the 35 Ford, you can see some resemblance. I also might make you aware of I don't know if you can see that fan down there, but he's got a fan in front of his aftermarket radiator. That radiator is obviously aluminum, and it's for, to really cool down these vehicles that have a tendency to get hot at times. So you can see the fan there because I can see it in the small monitor. We have a Camaro here. I think there's some big speakers in this Camaro. I'm guessing he's the life of the picnic. Okay, now we have something that I might be fairly accurate on. We have here obviously an old Chevy. It could be 55 or 56 would be my first guess. Let's walk around back. That's the easiest way for me to tell. Okay, it's a 55. These are the way they're wrapped around like this. That's a 55. If it's got a little circle in the middle, then that would be a 56. Yeah, here it says 55 on it. So I got that one right. Don't tread on me. Hey, you betcha. We love our Marines. A Viper. Now that's one heck of an engine. I don't know. I bet you people put these engines in all kinds of things because they put them in a super small light car. I think they would get airborne. Of course, we have trucks. If you're into trucks, you're welcome here. Elizabethton Car Show. We asked that, and I'm not part of it or anything, but I know that if you do come to Elizabethton and you bring a car, or you come to visit all the cars that are here, of course we would ask you to visit the stores and make sure you have lunch here, or like I bought ice cream here. They have very good ice cream. Hey, here we go. This is the big debate going on right now. There are some people who are against the car shows. So we want to keep them going. Okay. Let's see what this is. I think it's a little off memory for me. I think it's a Challenger or something. Wait, let me go ahead and see. And 440. So Barracuda. Okay. I should know better, right? 440, which means it's fast. Here we have a pickup truck. I think that's kind of cool. Look at, he's obviously modified the shifting. He's got some gauges that are accurate. I'm not saying the originals weren't, but they weren't. Okay, here he's got, again, a common theme, aluminum radiator with two fans on it. And notice that he's taken off the traditional fan. Now that's going to increase the horsepower right off the bat. I think it's like 10 or 12 horsepower a fan takes away from you. And of course the fan only, it just runs off electricity, and it's not drawing directly from the engine. Indirectly from the engine. Okay, what do we got here? Obviously it's a Bel Air, but 57. We know that by the fins. He's got antique plates on it, which I think is cool. There are some limitations. If you have antique plates, you have to check out your state and what they are. I would think that seating would be very much of traditional for what would be popular. Okay. How cool is that? Looks pretty original, more or less. And the master cylinder, I don't know if they had a single. I think they would have had a single in 57. This here is a separate master cylinder for front and rear. Bit safer. And of course it comes with an alternator, which would not have been the case in 1957. Would have had a generator. Okay, C10 pickup truck. Looks like it's been lowered. Actually looks nice that way. Let me get back a little bit. We'll see it. Okay, cool. You gotta love all the chrome under here, huh? That's beautiful. Gloss black on the fender wells. Oh, also on top of the hood. And he's even got the springs chromed. Pretty nice. He's got the, looks like he's got the, I've never seen this before, but he's got everything wrapped to, I believe that's to shed the heat, especially on your brake lines. I would think that would be important. Okay. Someone's having fun with this one. Here we go. Now that dash looks very original. Here's a modified, I don't know, is it a Chevy? I think it is. There's not much original with this one. That's the thing about this car show. Kind of one of the things I like about it is the fact that you never know what you're going to see. Okay, here's an old Ford. I don't have the exact year on this. Certainly similar hand grenades and horseshoes, mid-30s, I would guess. The dash has been altered, obviously, for the instrumentation, and the seats look comfy. Yeah, Outlaw. Okay, this is, I don't know. You guys can correct me on this one. I want to say 54. Oh, yeah. It says expired 6/30/54, so I'm going to guess I got that one. Love those taillights. You don't see a lot of old Fords anymore of this era. 1950s Fords are kind of rare. Now he's got a Pioneer radio in it. Might have been put in there like in the 80s or something. Looks like maybe. Well, I don't know for certain. Of course, you've got your dice. Got to have the dice in an old car like this. You want to be trendy. Let's take a look at this front end. Okay, that's kind of cool. And I think the coolest part of this is the fact that it's rare. Now, of course, you got things like this too. Rat rod. Yep. Notice the rust on the door. You know, you get a vehicle like that that you know, needs work, and you can decide what you want to do with it. Whether or not you want to try to bring it back and be expensive, or make a rat rod out of it. And you know, he probably has more money in that than you think, but it's not in the body. 57. 57 Chevy, of course. Very familiar with those in my youth. Okay, this is obviously changed out in the transmission, so it's not, it's got a Hurst shifter in it. And you can see that the steering wheel and everything has been changed out. It used to be a 3 on a tree, and now it, of course, it is not. Well, that, yeah, the steering wheel's changed, and the column, I guess, I'm not all that familiar with that, but quite possibly not changed on that, but the 3 on the tree is disconnected. A late model Mustang. Okay, you are invited here. Everybody's invited here. That's what's so cool about this. Okay, look at this. Somebody's obviously had some fun, and I think that's cool. I'm not exactly sure where you sit on that. It might be on the gas tank. I really don't have a clue. Here we go. Late 60s Chrysler product. And Super Sport. Okay, now this, I'm not going to be able to date this one exactly. Mostly original, I would say. I'm going to say it's a 67, but I'm not really knowledgeable enough to be for certain. Obviously, he's changed out the wheels. Didn't have those in 67. And of course, you got the dingle balls. That's kind of cool. A lot of money's been spent here. We can see that. Not too much original, I would guess. Aluminum radiator. The hoses are the high quality. Everything is chromed. That can be. There's something over here that I kind of would like to see, and that's, I don't know, 62 to a 62, I think. Pretty cool. 62 Galaxy 500, I would guess. Someone's put a shift kit in it, and who knows what else. Obviously, they've got a shaker hood or something, and that is heavily modified. I don't know what this is, a Futura or something? I'm really not sure. They take off all the markings on them. Obviously, it's been heavily modified. If you see the shaker hood, you know there's got something in there that's really big. The shift kit, you know, everything has been changed out. And he's got, you know, harnesses, you know, racing harnesses. I'd like to get something like that for my Morgan, to be truthful. I think it'd make it much safer. Not that I plan on going very fast. Oh, it's got a wheelie bar on it. Yeah, it's a Futura. Okay, so I was right. It's a little challenging sometimes when they take off some of the emblems. Okay, this is a kit car. Kind of cool looking. It's got the flaring fenders, meant to look like a Mercedes, and comes pretty close. A lot of people get into kit cars because it's you can get a drivetrain that's very dependable and not too much money. Okay, it's Camaro, late model. Mustang from the 80s. Camaro SS. Super Sport. Should we take a look inside? I think it's going to look nice. Then we did that. Let's go ahead and look up front. Oh boy. Very cool. Very nice. I can see it's your pride and joy. It's your girlfriend. I just found out, talking from the owner, we have a 2012 Camaro, and you can look at the inside of this. I mean, this does not look like it's 10 years old. Tell me. This guy's got, like, I think he's told me he has 10,000 miles on it. You know, he says it's the only girlfriend that his wife lets him have nowadays. I think he's got a smart wife. Just between you and me. Super Sport. It's going to be 65, maybe? I'm going to guess at a 65. Is it 65?
66.
Okay, I've been corrected. It's a 66. That's why I don't earn a living at this. Okay, 396. Super Sport. Okay. Some mods to it. Very cool looking. I remember these well. Can't remember the exact year anymore, but I remember them well. Okay, here we go. We got a Challenger, late model. That's what's so cool about this show. It's like you can bring whatever you like here. It's not like it's specific for one type of model. Newer trucks, older vehicles. It's got it all. Now, here we have an old Mustang. Let's see what year this is. 70. I believe it's a 70. And Mark 1.
It don't say how much it is now.
It could be slightly different year than this. I looked at it and it looks like a 70, but I can't be sure of that. Oh, we have documentation here. Like a build sheet. 69. Okay, I was off. What's 1969. Built at Dearborn, Michigan. Somebody has put a lot of TLC in this. It's in this restoration. Kind of cool. Okay, here we have 55 Chevy. Makes it easy. I like the easy ones every now and then. How cool. Now he's done some mods in it. All the instrumentation has been changed out. The seats. Looks comfy. There you go. Of course, you got to have the fan on all the old cars. I'm talking about the electric fan. Late model Mustang. very, I guess, fast cars. I don't know very much great deal about them. Now, I don't know what year this is, 66, 67. It's right in there. Some modifications to it. You can see the top of the headlights got the little tops on them. Very cool. Let's see if we can check out the back and get a year off it. Now, one of the things we can do, I don't know if there's enough light here. I think it might say 66. You look for the numbers. What year? 66. That's what I thought I was reading on the taillight. Huh? Oh, is it? Cool. You own the whole market here for 1966. Okay, this is another 66 automobile. Obviously, it's a Ford half-ton truck, 6-foot bed. Very nice. You don't see them this nice. You just don't. That's a very nice car. As I said to somebody earlier, people spend more money on the paint job nowadays than the car costs or vehicle costs. In this case, half-ton pickup truck. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, a Pontiac Firebird. I had one a couple of years later than this. This is probably about a 69. I don't have an exact year on that. Some modifications to the interior, it looks like to me. And then mine was a 71. But I may be 68 on this. I really can't give you an exact year on that. Very good looking Mustang. It's reminiscent of early years of Mustangs. Very cool. Very, very, very cool. Supercharged, huh? You're not kidding. Okay, what do we got here? Another one. Another Mustang. You know, on the newer models, I really can't date them. I'm just not good at that on the newer ones. I mean, I can look at a 10-year-old and I can't tell. California Special. It's some Chevy's version of the PT Cruiser, I would think. Okay. Now look at the color of this car. What do you think of that, huh? Okay. Looks like we might have an old Plymouth here, certainly by the hubcap. Yeah, and turn signal or brake light actually. Oh, look at this, it has a rumble seat. That's kind of cool. Oh man, this is very cool. Look at, you can roll down the rear window. Now that is absolutely nifty. And of course, this isn't real wood, but it's painted to look like wood, and it's a very good job. So is the dash. Looks like it's been redone. Now that transmission absolutely looks original. I don't know about the shifting knob. It's old, I would guess. But I don't know if it's original to this car. I'm not sure what kind of engine that's in it. Looks like maybe a straight 6, but I'd be guessing. Looks like an early mid-60s Falcon. Obviously it's a convertible, which makes it pretty rare. Some aftermarket cup holders and stuff. And the transmission probably is not original. Beautiful looking car. Here's a 1980s Roadmaster estate wagon. Oh my gosh. Every driveway should have one of those in the 80s. Originally from North Fork, Virginia. Okay, so what do we got here? This is something I'm not real knowledgeable with. I think it's a really old Ford, probably from the 40s. What do we got on the inside? It's kind of interesting because we know that the column has been changed out and the gauges have been changed out. There's some pretty good paint work here. It looks pretty close to be, I mean, I think from a distance it would fool some people. Very nice. '63 500 maybe? Now, this is a Cobra. I don't think it's an original. It's a kit car. But that doesn't mean it's not a good one. I just don't know the particulars on it. I mean, Cobras are worth probably $1 million or something. So it's legit to have kit cars. Look at that shifter. Okay, here's a goat, mid-60s. Let's see what cars used to look like in the mid-60s. This looks pretty close to being original. Very nice, very well done, very well kept. I don't know, I'd have to guess on that one. I'd guess at a 66, but I don't really know. Let's see if we can get a number on it. I don't see a number. What year is your car?
It's not ours.
Okay. So we don't know exactly on that. I'm going to say it's about a 66, and people can correct me because I probably don't have that one dead on for certain. There's no Stingray. Possibly late 60s, early 70s, something like that. Obviously somebody is giving it some love. Again, you have the harnesses, 3-point harness. Modifications. Mustang, I would say about a 65, roughly speaking. Let's see if I look back here. Somewhere in that vintage. Very nice. Very nicely done. Let's see what the inside looks like here. It's like Mustangs don't have to be original, you know, for the most part. You can do modifications to them. I don't think that hurts the value too much. Some cars it does. Another Camaro. See a lot of those here. Nice pickup truck. People love their pickup trucks here. I love mine too. So that's cool. Okay, here we have another Mustang that somebody has really gone through. Very nice. Looks like a 66 maybe, I'm guessing. Yeah. 72 maybe. Let's see. Let's look for the numbers. 69. See right here it says 69. Okay, that's how you tell. That would be the first year that they used that tail light. Probably the only year. Another thing you see all the time, aluminum radiators with electric fans. Increase that horsepower. There's a Volkswagen for you. It don't sound like your traditional Volkswagen, I'm guessing. IROC, International Race of Champions. Remember it well. I used to follow them back when Mario Andretti would be involved in it, and I believe Al Unser and quite a few others. The top races from a multitude of different kinds of races. You know, they would take, guy could race at Indianapolis, or road racing courses, could be F5000 or F1. Thunderbirds, don't know them too well, but I'm going to say that's about a 55 or a 56, something like that. Okay, now this looks like a Willys or something. And someone's done a lot of mods. So I expect not too much of this is original. But look at those, look at that paintwork. Again, very expensive. Okay, let's see what else we got. Of course, we got the big motorcycles here. Goldwing Honda. Okay, cool old car, cool old Ford actually. Looks like some of the instrumentation has been changed out. Nevada, 1946. So we know what year it is. It's 1946. There's like a 57 Chevy from the front. Okay, this has got a straight six in it. And the fact is, I was talking to the lady who owns this earlier. She was over by my car and we were talking about it. She said she had a 57 with a straight six and it was at the show. So that's, you know, it's a respectable car. A lot of people want to put the V8 in it. I personally would keep it original. That's the way it should be done. This might not be hers. I thought she said hers was a four-door. So it is a 57 though. And cool car. Here's another rat rod. And they're affectionately called rat rods. They're not, it's not cutting them down. It's just whatever is important to you, you know. What is important to you in an old car? Look at how this was pitted. You know, it had spent a lot of its life out in the environment. So, you know, somebody determined, look at this in here. This makes a perfect rat rod. Okay? So you don't worry about the body too much. Somebody has made a simple repair down the bottom. It obviously had rust issues, even down here in behind the door. And, you know, you just do whatever you want to the front of the car. You have, you know, a lot of latitude of what you want to do. So I think they're kind of cool. Oh, Mercury, mid 60s somewhere. Okay, this guy's got a kit in it, so you can lift it and lower it. He can probably make it bounce, do whatever he wants with it. Okay, a school bus. Who wants to go to school now? Now, if I could have gone to school in that bus, I would have had a smile on my face more of the time. It looks like this guy is giving people rides in the school bus. Okay, who's ready to go to school? I'll go back. Look at it, it's filling, the school bus is filling up. Let's go to school. Don't be late. Cool. Oh my gosh. You know, it's kind of cool. Instead of discarding things, we can bring them back. Have another use for them. Somebody's had fun with this. Again, you have these vehicles that may not be pristine, so you can do other things with them. I'm guessing that's what was the case here. Coyote duster. Beep beep. Cuda. Barracuda. So this Chevy is before my knowledge of Chevys, and I don't know, I'm going to guess it may be a 52 or something. Cruising with Dad. A lot of people put a memorial down to their father and stuff. It's a cool thing. Obviously he loved his dad. Mixed 60s Ford Fairlane GT. Looks like he's 67, okay. Very cool. Someone's given a lot of love. I don't see any oil, do you? This is a little Fairlane section and stuff in here. You know, I've noticed in the past, sometimes they have a tendency to put certain kind of cars together. Because people at the show, you know, they want to hang out with their people, you know. And who do you want to hang out with? People who love the cars that you love. There's quite a few cars here. I would say there's as many cars here as I've ever seen. And there's some question about whether or not this car show should continue, because there are a few businesses who do not like it. And then there are other businesses that think it's cool that they're introducing people to the community, the downtown Elizabethton, which is kind of sleepy, to be honest. It's a great downtown. And if you ever decide to come by, make sure that you found out about it from the car show. Tell everybody. But there's a couple shops that do not like the car show. Well, I guess the drawback to it is, the good thing about it is it's every Saturday when the weather's good, you know, during the summertime. The bad thing about it, according to these people, is it's every Saturday. Here we have another 55. I kind of like 55s. It's my favorite year within that structure, 55, 56, and 57. And I like 55s. Okay, here's a Bronco. Man, people have spent a lot of money on those. It's not difficult. And this is a nice one. A lot of love. A lot of love in this one. Steve McQueen would like this. Think? What do you think, huh? Steve McQueen like that? Maybe he's driving one right now, up in heaven. Now, here you go. Here's what we talk about, people hanging around with people who have cars like them. These are 257s. One was a Continental kit, the second one. That's that tire on the back. And the inside of it here, to be honest with you, it's a fantastic restoration. Now I'm wondering if somebody's doing all these restorations because the cup holders and everything are exact. So I think that there's one company, either locally or available through mail order or something, that is offering that type of equipment. Now this 57 is a convertible, which in fact is a premium. The restoration on here is marvelous. The paint appears to be flawless. The interior looks correct. You've got a 3 on the tree, which is cool. Most likely it had a 283, or it does now, because a lot of them that came with the 6s, people modified them. I'm thinking it's not necessary, but some people like it. So a little spare tire without taking up your trunk. This is early 60s. I'll get a better hint when I look at the back. I think it might be a 62 or 63. It's got a big old engine in it. Not many, I don't think, came with that engine, if there are any of them, but it's big. According to this, it did, but a lot of them have been, you modified to appear that they came that way. Because I think it was a rare option. If it is original, it's super valuable. Okay, so I'm going to guess it's about a 63. And this is probably a 69. Correct me where I'm wrong, guys. Now, a lot of people get a stock vanilla vintage car like this, and they buy the emblems and they put them on. And so if you're out looking for them, if you're paying big money because it's a Super Sport SS, right, then you're going to want to make sure, you're going to want to see the build on it to make sure that it in fact came that way, if that's what you're paying for. Now, if somebody says, hey, it's a clone, and you're paying for a clone, then that's fair game, because you're probably getting good value for your money. Got a car for sale up here. It's an old Ford. I'm kind of partial to Fords because I think they all rusted out during this time. Ford Fairlane, somewhere around a 57. It's for sale, so it probably says. Oh, it does not. Pretty close to being original. The seat's not. They're crushed velour, which would have been a nice mod back in the day. '57? 57? Okay. So it's a 57 with a Continental kit. They're a little hard for me because the old Fords are getting rare. You don't see as many of them. You see a lot of Chevys and stuff, and not so much the Fords. And that's our school bus. So if you were lucky, you could go to school on a bus like this. But make sure you stop off at my house, because I'm going with you. Obviously this has been sitting in a field for somewhere for like 30 or 40 years. And someone said, hey, you know what? It's got a nice old diesel engine in it. I'm going to bring it back to life. And they did. And the body they don't care about. Can I walk inside?
Go right ahead.
Thank you, sir.
It's got the old, I got you by the...
When does school start?
Yeah, really?
I'm going.
For that. Go on.
I know, I'm going to school. I'll go to school every day. Now, how do you like that shifter? I don't know if I can show all of that. It goes way up there. Somebody's had a lot of fun with this. And I think it's pretty cool. I mean, that's what's really neat about shows like this. It's not about certain classes and winning awards. It's about enjoyment of vehicles. Thank you. I mean, you can see anything here. You literally cannot be surprised at what you're going to see at the Elizabethton Car Show. And again, for now, it's on every Saturday during the summertime. And it's been going on for a long time that way. But there is a number of people who don't see the benefit of it. And that's unfortunate. Now here we have a mid-60s Mustang, a straight six. Hats off to them for not putting a V8 in it, okay? I really think that was cool. Instead of putting a V8 in it, they redid the interior and it looks wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It does have a manual transmission. Whether or not it came with that, I don't know. You'd have to look at the build sheet. I'm going to guess it's a 66. It says 64 here. Okay, so I may be wrong. It may be a 64. In that case, it's even rarer. See how many of you know what this is. I want to try to get a good shot on the name here. I believe there was an aftermarket guy who made those, and they'd be limited. No, I can't even speak on this car because anything I'd say could very well be wrong. So I'm just going to show you. I think some of it is aftermarket. How much of that I do not know. Now I'm not even attempting to film all the cars here. I think that would be unrealistic. You could spend weeks filming cars and trucks that would be here on any given Saturday. So you can't see them all. You just have to say at some point that it's not going to be possible to see every car. Malibu, I don't know. Is it a 64? Someone's put a metal flake type paint job on it. I used to know. 65 it says. Now this is a Volkswagen that's actually a Volkswagen. It likes oil. But cool. '55 Bel Air. Again, this is someone's love, man. They put a lot of money in it. You can tell by one quick look. It's got that flat paint on it. Originally got started by people just painting their cars with primer. The other thing about the owner of these cars, they're interesting. They're not kids. I would say the average owner is, on average, is 60 plus. So, because to buy a car like this, it's not cheap. To restore one is really not cheap. Okay, this is a nitrous oxide. Is Mustangs and Z28 side by side. Half-ton pickup truck, 70s. 1980 station wagons. I mean, they're cool now, and you're seeing them all over the place. But in 1990, everybody would be laughing at you for having a station wagon like that. You know, they'd be calling it thing like a boat anchor and stuff. Then, of course, they came out with the minivans, and the minivans were cool. And then, of course, the minivans became soccer moms' cars, and they got cut down. So now minivans are not cool. Now they're making station wagons again. I see them occasionally. The major manufacturers, I think like Honda and stuff, is making station wagons again. Of course, they're not calling it a station wagon because that would be detrimental. This is not your daddy's Jeep. A Nova. Again, you know, people who own these cars, they're not 18. When these cars were first sold new, you know, they were sold to a lot of 18-year-olds. Look at the guitar someone's got on it in the Chevy colors. I think that's cool. I don't know. It looks like obviously a 57 with a fin. Looks like someone's changed out the instrumentation. Looks like it was made just for this car. Very nice. Well done. Superb paint. Lots of money on that car. Where it's a convertible, it's very big. I don't know if it came with the fuel injection or not. That would be something for a build sheet. Okay, this is obviously a 55 by the tail lights. I kind of like this one because it has the appearance of originality. So that's cool. I'm sure that's been a respray, and you can see that underneath it's been resprayed. Straight 6 again. Again, I respect that they didn't change that out into a V8. I have no problem with someone changing it to a V8 if that's what it takes to make them happy, but you know, I'd rather have it. My personal thing is to keep it like it was on the build sheet. Okay, now we have an old flathead here, something I can relate to. You've got, I believe this is an alternator that made to look like a generator. I respect that. They're trying to keep the originality of what the vehicle should be like, if in theory it was what it appears to be. So that's kind of nice. You've got a fan down there to take out some of that heat. I may have been in this car one time. Somebody let me sit in their car one time, and it was, if it was not this one, it was similar to it. It was really enjoyable. It had very comfortable seats. Again, another 57. This is something you see on a lot of cars around here, fuel injection on these Chevys. And I can tell you, I don't think too many of them came with it, but that's just my my basic thoughts on it. So when you're buying a car that's like that, you know, you have to take that into consideration, because the ones that might have come with some of these features are extremely valuable. And someone that has been done as an aftermarket, then that value is depending on what somebody thinks it is. And there may be a lot of advantages to going with a new fuel injection versus the day of you know, fuel injection back in the day might not have been that good. I'm not knowledgeable on that, so I can't say with any knowledge on it. Now, if you're hearing music in the background, we're going to hope that that doesn't get monetized. So you might hear a blank just a minute ago. Yeah, it's old Flathead, third year. Yep, third year they made it, 1935.
1735 Flathead.
The whole car. Yeah.
Get a picture? Come on.
Good to see you.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah, 1935. Takes off, huh? So you don't see a lot of late 50s English cars here. This one's a Survivor. I mean, look at the grill. So it's not perfect, but you know what? It's pretty nice. And I could dig going for a ride in this. Vietnam veteran, yes. Thank you for serving our country. I don't know what year. I'm going to say about a 58. I'm going to be off most likely. Camaro, somewhere around the 69, 70 vintage, I think. Another 57, a lot of those here. I would say that the favorite is probably a 57, followed very closely by a 55. Now, here's something kind of cool. It's, if my memory serves me well, this is a 61 to a 63 Corvette. For many years, my favorite car. Never owned one. Though, actually, this is an older one because it's a single headlight. So I'm going to put this at a late 50s. And I don't know for certain what year that is. I'm going to see if I can find out. I'll ask these people, see if they know. Maybe they own it. 58?
I have no idea. It ain't mine.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like a 58, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
It's got single headlights in the front. That means it's not the 60s version.
No, it's either 58 or 59. I don't really know.
Yeah. Very cool looking.
Hey, it's pretty car.
Used to be my favorite. Now I don't have a favorite. I have too many.
You know, like them all now.
Yeah. Okay, this is the Boxer. Many people refer to it as a Porsche Boxer. It was made in the Audi factory. So I suppose there's a little bit of a conflict there. It's very sympathetic of a 911 if you ask me. And it was much more affordable than the 911 when it first came out. And I suspect still is. Mopar. Oh, now, I don't think Volkswagens looked this good when they were new. This is a great looking Volkswagen. Look at the inside of that, huh? That's been restored to a very high level. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about collecting cars. You know, you collect what you like. And my favorite car shows are not the $1 million plus cars. And there are those car shows. You can go to those. My car shows are like these. You can look at this car and you could say, hey, I could buy that car maybe, you know, or one like it. Even in this condition. And this is going to be a very valuable Volkswagen. I believe this is a Super Beetle is what they call it. I'm not very familiar. If I was to guess on the year, it'd be a 72. But I don't know. These are aftermarket taillights, I think, and they may not have any numbers in them. I don't believe they do. So, but that's cool. Another rat rod. This one was driving up and down the way a while back. Another rat rod. Let's see what the inside looks like. Okay, so your drink holder is 2 pistons. I think that's kind of cool. And your gear shift is a welded chain. Young guys do like to rev their cars, don't they? I think we've all been there. You can't pick on them because if you did it yourself.
Are you making a YouTube video?
Yeah. Do you want to be on it?
No, sir, not really.
Okay, there you go. So I think the rat rod is this weekend's winner. There are more rat rods out here than I have seen in the past. Okay, so there's only a few cars that we haven't seen, and there's a few on side streets and such, but we're not going to go there. So we're going to take a quick walk up. This is obviously Camaro, which has had custom work done to it. Look at that shifter. Dash is all custom. Seats are obviously custom. Look at that gas tank. That's like, you know, NASCAR stuff. And you've got the battery in the back, which, you know, gives you traction. Usually it's over the right rear. That's where they usually put the English used to do that. They would put it in the right rear because as you go around the corner, that's where they figured it offset the driver. That was the philosophy on the old English cars. Very cool looking. 426. It was meant to be mean. Okay, you're looking inside. Pretty cool. Looks original. And except for the shifter. That does not. But everything else does. RT. Those wheels kind of go with, don't you think? What do you think? Do they go with? Okay. Dodge RT. Okay. There's all kinds of things. Things that you would consider collector cars. Things that you wouldn't consider collector cars. I mean, it's really up to, you know, what you think should be a collector car. I mean, or not. Look at that. I mean, somebody has a lot of hours in that. A lot of hours. And then when you look at it, you know, the paint job is very nice, but otherwise it could be a sleeper. Everything's custom. Look at the dash and everything. You know, this dates back, I don't know what year exactly, but I'm going to guess mid-60s, be my guess. Thunderbird. Later model. I don't know the years of those. Okay, this is somebody with a build sheet. So let's go ahead and see what they got on here. Well, not exactly a build sheet, but a copy of the sticker, the window sticker, I guess. Okay, in case you wanted, 2,466 miles, $66.75. Look, it's kind of cool though, because looks like it came with bucket seats, $231. Floor mats, $11.60. You would think it would come with floor mats, wouldn't you? Positive traction axle. Hey, this is a well-equipped car. 375 horsepower turbojet, 396. You know, this car actually, you know, this sticker makes this car valuable. When you're buying a car, you know, it's really important that you have an understanding of what, okay, looks like this is not the window sticker. This is actually the original receipt, okay? So this was the original receipt that the guy got. It's kind of cool that you have that. So $3,834. So he paid $311 for the 4-speed. That's the best $311 you're going to spend. The 396, 375 horsepower was 316, and so it's really cool. And now, most recently, somebody has kept up with the upholstery. It's beautiful. It's a nice car. And I mean, somebody paid a lot of money for this, you know. If you didn't buy all the bells and whistles, you could have gone to a bit, you know, like a Chevelle or something like that for probably less money. Okay, someone's done an engine swap on this, because that is not stock. Looks very well done. A lot of engine. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Not only do you have what must be 3-point harnesses in the front, I don't see the top, but they must be there. You also have them in the back. I have yet to see that. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if this guy drives around all the time with no hood. I bet his engine would run cooler. Again, notice they take off the fan for the horsepower, not the heat always. This vehicle should probably run okay, especially with aluminum radiator. If you look down there, it's got an aluminum radiator. It's a big winner, and it's got 2 gigantic fans. I am thinking that that would run pretty good as far as the heat. So why do they take off the fan? As I mentioned earlier, that's for horsepower. That fan robs you of horsepower. Okay, so here, obviously, somebody has spent many, many, many hours here. Okay. 3-point harness. This vehicle is set up for racing, obviously. It's one person. No back seats, no passenger seat. Very cool. Man, this thing is really sitting higher than it would have been originally. Looks beefy. Look at those rear tires. See if we can get in close on them. Someone's got a 4-speed in it. Very nice. I have no idea if this would have come with a 4-speed. I would think not. I'm sure some did. Someone's going to tell me the year on this, but I'm going to say it's a 62. I see numbers on it. Let's see if I can spot them. '64A. Does that mean it's a 64? Don't know. Look at that. It's kind of cool, huh? Okay, so we're coming up now, and Volkswagen, I'm going to call it a conversion. I don't really know what else to call it. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, this is the trunk. And so you've got a lot of engine in there. And somehow they made it fit. Now, I don't know how that radiator could cool that. Wow. I mean, what's everybody think? Can that radiator cool that engine? I'm thinking it can't and must shut off after a certain while. Now, notice how I saw this driving around earlier. There's a lot of conversion stuff. The column is in the steering wheel, all Chevy, of course, and then the seat you sit way back. I'm going to see if I can talk to this guy who owns this. And I have no idea what that is. There's a gas tank. So the gas tank is back here. It's in the back of this vehicle. You know, it's a Volkswagen. But can we call it a Volkswagen? I don't know that we can. I think it's very interesting. I wouldn't mind going for a drive in it.
Yeah, a lot more.
So
A
this,
lot more from here lately.
it looks to me like the body has been welded on to some other frame. Chevy. I believe it's a Volkswagen Chevy. That's what it is. I would love to talk to the guy who owns this, but I just don't see him around. Let's take another look at that radiator. I just don't see. Okay, so you guys that are listening to this, can that radiator cool this engine? I don't know. I mean, then there's cars constantly coming through. Again, station wagons, very popular. That was called a Vista wagon or something. That says sport wagon on it, but see there's windows all the way going around on the back. I think Oldsmobile made one. Maybe theirs was a Vista Cruiser. Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser is what it was. That's a Buick. So they were sisters. Well, maybe they were cousins, but they were pretty close cousins. So how does the old girl look? Okay. I would honestly say it's a pretty happening place. Okay, so we're getting ready to go now. It's been an all-day event here. I mean, not really all day. Officially, it starts at 5 o'clock. I got here early, and I visited some of the shops, spent some money here to help support the system, which is really cool. There's our car right there in the back. Bet you recognize it to some degree if I can